Hey, good afternoon, everyone. This is Jim Williams for the 3 p.m. update for the private sector in regards to the winter weather that has come into the state of Louisiana. Um, so we'll get kicked off here. As of the 1 o'clock update with GOSEP, conditions are continuing to improve across the state, while there are still some areas that are have significant transportation challenges because of icing, because of the temperature that we have obtained today. That number should go down significantly. And as you can see, the bubble chart across the top right now, the only two areas that are really of concern are the water systems and transportation, and we'll go over those in detail here in a minute. But GOSEP, while they are not shutting down operations, they are continuing to kind of shift down a little bit as they're going forward. Um, but they're continuing to monitor things. And rest assured, all state agencies are focused on trying to recover from this event. So as we'll just go into the lifelines, as of this today, all of the curfews that were imposed from yesterday have been lifted to our knowledge. But again, we advise you to check with your local officials to make sure that there have not been any specific changes. We do not think the level of freeze that will happen tonight should not be at a point that would affect transportation, but there is always that challenge as the snow and ice that are on the roadways have begun to melt, and the snow that is in and around those roadways begins to melt. Does have a chance to refreeze over the evening, so please be cautious if you're going out after dark. Um, right now, there are I fat fingered that one. We're down to 51 warming shelters, down from 75 as at the max. They're continuing to reduce the footprint. Several of the warming centers that are currently still open have zero people in it. So we're thinking that that is going to move into a much smaller footprint over the next 24 hours. The one transitional shelter is still open in New Orleans. And while not directly affected by this event, that center remains open for the foreseeable future. Um, the two nursing homes that we reported yesterday are still on generator power. What we're able to determine now, it is has nothing to do with the grid. It is some equipment malfunctions that are not allowing those two facilities to come off of generator power and get back onto the grid. That has been resolved and should be back on the grid power by this evening. What probably most people are experiencing right now is a very large amount of water outages across the state. There are 20 systems that are out currently and 107 systems that have temporarily lost uh, either pressure or power and have under a boil advisory. And this affects 122,000 customers. And remember, just like in the electrical area, each customer is an address. So that could be up to many as 4 or 5 people per customer count. So that is a pretty large number that's affected. But the good news story on the opposite side of that is we are less than 500 customers across the state that are without power right now. I think the number was about 425-ish, 426. If I remember correctly, I didn't I fat fingered when I was writing it down, so I know it was under 500. So that's a number that I felt safe in reporting, which is the power grid for this event has really held up very well. There has not been uh, a significant loss of power across the state. And on the fuel side of the house, there are no fuel shortages as we appreciate it. That one concern that we had for the area south of Cameron, that was on generator power. That has been resolved, so that should not be an issue for those customers going forward. Moving into communications, the, the statewide communication network is at 100% operation. They got that last tower up and running in the last 24 hours. The commercial carriers are reporting no degradation of services, so we should have full complement of internet and wireless connectivity across the state. The cyber folks asked me to remind everyone, be aware of spoofing and phishing campaigns that are going to go on when we are looking at these types of events. Always be suspicious of any email or text messages that are soliciting some type of donation. Especially if comes from somebody that you're supposed to know, reach out to those individuals and don't click any links in any email or text message that you get, unless you truly know that that's the person that's sending it to you. But there's reminds you that no GOSEP or government entity will ever contact an individual or directly with a solicitation, especially for things like gift cards. Okay, moving into transportation, which is where the biggest challenges that we face across the state right now. Um, Louisiana DOTD, with the assistance from the Arkansas DOTD, or DOT, yeah, I should say, are doing their best to keep the state highways and primary routes open. As of this report, I-10 from the Texas border to the I-49 interchange is now open. They're working their way from west to east. They're still having a big challenge with these elevated roadways, while the Atchafalaya Basin can be open in spots, and really any ground uh, transportation network can open up. It's going to be where those areas are shaded, especially in the area going from Baton Rouge to New Orleans along I-10, where there's a lot of wooded areas along the side of the interstate. Um, the biggest thing we need right now is a little bit of sunshine to get those roadways open. And as soon as that happens, things will get better. But until that point, um, we'll continue to have some challenges. We just ask everybody to be patient, and watch your speeds as you're transitioning through the area. Roads are beginning to open. I got a chance to get out during lunch today, and there are some areas where there is still ice on the road, but as the sun comes out, those conditions continue to get better. Um, the Crescent City connection is now open, but across the Mississippi, that 310, as of the last report I had, 310 Sunshine and the Veterans Bridge in Gramercy were closed. Um, DOTD was working their best to try and get them open, but they could not. As much as we tried to pin them down, they and rightfully so, they cannot give a good firm date of when it's going to be open because conditions are going to be challenging, especially for those elevated roadways. Um, Airports of New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and Alexandria are open. The regional airports are remain closed. They are beginning to open up, but some of it is the lack of personnel being able to get into those locations to get them open. And it's the same thing with the ports. So if you have anything that's going to be coming through one of those smaller regional airports, your best bet is to contact the terminal to find out their status. But as of the 1 o'clock update, those were the only four airports that had reopened. Um, and like I said, going into the ports, many of the ports are beginning to open up for tenant operations, but because of the transportation network challenges coming out of the ports, there is no port traffic that was being conducted for this update. Moving forward, as I said yesterday, the state is beginning to put together their Federal Declaration of Emergency packet. They're working with the state agencies to build that packet. What we need assistance from the private sector is if your company was significantly impacted by this event in a monetary sense, which is completely possible. We ask you to take our survey and send it in to Allison or Jackie so we can get those that information compiled. And we're trying to get the first look at that by close of business Friday. So the faster you get that stuff in, the faster we can try and get that application turned around. Again, as we said yesterday, and we will continue to say, the fact that you report any economic injury during this event does not guarantee that your organization will be eligible for SBA disaster loan. But what I can tell you is without a survey, we will not be able to get to be able to reach the thresholds that are going to equate that. So as soon as we know that we get that information gathered, we're going to continue to update this as much as possible. So as we go forward, we just ask for your assistance with that. We're not holding anybody's feet to the fire on it, but we just ask you to help us help our neighbors out that may have gotten any impacts. So at this time, that concludes my portion of the report. Um, and I see a couple of things, questions that came in through the chat. Do I know when I-55 will be open coming out of NOLA going into Hammond? Ms. Murphy, I'm guessing that's exactly what you're talking about. Again, when we talked to DOTD at 1 o'clock, they would not give a definitive when it wouldn't be open, but know that they are trying to get it as quickly as possible. And I see Miss Williams had a question about the list of water systems. Okay, I will try and get that to you as quickly as I can, Miss Williams. They just listed the number of systems in their report. I'll dig into it and see where there are more of them at. And I got your stuff right there. Got it. Man, yes, there have been some significant. The final question I got right now is from impact to homes and water lines. There have been some challenges with that, Dave, across the region, where we're really the temperature begins to warm and water pressure comes back up in the other areas. We are starting to see that more and more of those. To give you a hard, fast number, I do not have that. The parishes are gathering that stuff up, and those types of damages and reports are going to help build those individual assistance and public assistant notes. So, and for those of you who are in there, you can see the link that was posted by my teammate, Miss Fry, on where the survey is, and that's where you can get it at. Are there any other questions that people may have that I have not answered at this time? I'm just going to go around the horn. Cody, I see you on. Is there anything I missed from GoSep's point of view?
I think you got it all.
All right. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if there's no further questions, this recording will be available for you to share with other people who may or may not find this useful to them. And this will be the last one that we're going to record for this event. We will continue to put out information across the BEOC network as it comes up. We thank all of you for your time, your patience, and hope your best that you survive this without any impacts. But there are no further questions. That's Jim signing off from the BEOC. Thank you.